Tamara Alrifai is the spokesperson for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA. She joins us from Amman. Thank you for being with us on the program today. So UNRWA dismissed 9 employees. Does the organization have evidence that those employees were involved, indeed, in the October 7th attacks?
UNRWA received allegations from the Israeli government, and the Commissioner General of UNRWA deemed that it's in the interest of the 2 million people we're serving in Gaza and in the interest of the continuation of our life-saving and irreplaceable work in Gaza. He deemed it necessary to preemptively dismiss these staff members for the sake of everything else, but also for the sake of due diligence. The Commissioner General asked the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, to refer the situation to the highest investigation authority at the UN in New York. So we worked on several tracks together, with the primary goal being the continuation of our irreplaceable and life-saving work in Gaza.
Okay, so the 9 employees that were dismissed were preemptively dismissed. To be clear, does that mean you don't, or that you do, currently have any evidence in their alleged involvement in the October 7th attacks?
That is correct. They were dismissed upon allegations preemptively, and an investigation is being opened at the UN headquarters in New York. And these now former employees will have the right of recourse in case the findings are in their favor.
I believe there were 2 employees who, as of the Secretary General's statement on Sunday, were still being identified. Have they been identified now?
Not yet, no. You know, we have 13,000 staff in Gaza. It takes a very, very complex review to be able to match names that we receive from the government of Israel with names of our employees. But if I may here remind that UNRWA shares the full list of names of its staff in Gaza and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, with Israel every year. So the list is known. The list of our staff is known to the government of Israel every year.
This is interesting. I think it's something our viewers might not know. All the people that UNRWA employs, including the 13,000 staff members in the Gaza Strip, Israel is aware of who works for you.
That is correct. We provide the names of our staff to the host authorities in the countries that we work in, so Jordan and Lebanon and Syria, and we also provide it to the State of Israel. And here I speak specifically of our employees in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem and in Gaza.
And by the way, do they have a say in not staffing decisions, but when you provide that list, does Israel have any right of comment on who works for UNRWA?
The host governments and also the State of Israel may come back to us with concerns over staff when they receive the list. In the case of our staff in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem and Gaza, we have not received concerns by the State of Israel upon their receiving of these lists on an annual basis. But I also want to reiterate the sturdy recruitment and screening that we do to all our staff to ensure that we get proper recommendations for them and that their names do not match names of people listed on the UN Security Council's sanctions list. So we have a thorough and sturdy review before we recruit anyone.
What does it say to you that the biggest donors to this UN agency have pulled their funding, and that is the majority of the funding that goes to UNRWA has now been suspended based on allegations concerning 0.04% of your overall staff?
Well, you got the maths right. And so in response to that, we are pleading to our biggest donors, who are also our partners in ensuring that there's an adequate humanitarian operation in Gaza. We're pleading with them not to allow the humanitarian operation towards 2 million people to collapse. UNRWA has the largest footprint in Gaza. We run the shelters where more than 1 million people have sought refuge. We run the food and wheat flour distribution towards the entire population. There is no one, no agency, no humanitarian actor that can replace UNRWA, especially on such short notice. So our position is, please help us continue saving lives in Gaza and continue providing that level of relief, food, medical supplies, medical services to an entire population that is now dependent on humanitarian assistance.
The UN Secretary General mentioned in his statement on Sunday that UNRWA was not funded through the end of February. What happens if the funding does not resume? What happens, I mean, to the Palestinians that you help, specifically the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip?
The Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, but also the Palestinian refugees across the region, will no longer be able to get food, clean water, education, primary health services, and much more if UNRWA cannot sustain its operations beyond March. It is extremely serious for the well-being, for the rights of Palestine refugees to critical care, but also for regional stability. It is extremely critical that the largest humanitarian agency continues providing humanitarian assistance and continues to contribute to regional stability in a volatile environment. This is really not the time to stop funding to UNRWA and to threaten its ability to continue supporting millions, especially in Gaza today, where the war continues, the displacement continues, and the needs are so acute for us to